Hello, hello. Carol Sirabisi, licensed marriage and family therapist here from Conscious Choices. Today with conscious moment number 14. I love me. Sounds strange, right? We don't often say that out loud, certainly, and we don't often hear it from people. And we have a tendency when we do or when we think it to believe that we're being selfish, that that's a selfish thing. Certainly that's what our culture gives to us, programs us to believe. But we also get this other message that says, if you don't, you can't fully love another person if you don't love yourself. Okay, so which is it? Today we're going to talk about, what I want to remind you of is that loving yourself first really is the key to creating and manifesting the relationship that you want. The relationship built on authenticity and love and respect and curiosity and forgiveness, right? All of those things sound wonderful, right? But if I don't really know how to love myself, it's really, really hard to bring all of that naturally, authentically into the relationship when I can't really find it in me. So I actually made a list of some ways that our relationships are negatively impacted by our not being able to love ourselves, and the ways that our relationships are positively influenced when we're able to love ourselves. So I'm not going to go through all of these. You can watch the Facebook Live that I did earlier today in order to get all of them. But I think you're going to be able to extrapolate, if you will, the into your own lives and take these examples and relate them to how they show up in your own lives. So pay attention to how am I honoring myself here or not. So when we don't love ourselves first, we wind up valuing others before ourselves, and then we get upset when they don't reciprocate, which doesn't make any sense. We wind up minimizing our own desires, and then we resent our partners for not giving us what we want when we haven't really told them, because we're not honoring and respecting our own desires, our own needs, our own wants. When we're not loving ourselves first, we can forget what we want and we give ourselves away and we feel empty inside. We can get resentful that we're not getting as much as we're giving. We wind up looking to others for our happiness, and then we wonder why we're unhappy. We can easily look to others for approval to validate our own worth, right? If we don't believe that we're worthy ourselves, we need to get that feedback externally. And when we don't get it, we feel even worse. Also, when we don't love ourselves first, we have a tendency to personalize the behavior of other people. We believe that what they're doing is a direct reflection of who I am. We're not able to see that, no, that's not a reflection of my value or my worth. It may be related to something that I did or I didn't do. It may trigger you, but it does not speak to who I am. So again, think about how all the ways that you may not love and value yourself influences how you show up in your relationship, and how, when you're showing up in a way that isn't really about I know who I am, I respect who I am, and I want you to respect me. If you're showing up not from that place, think about how that influences the reaction. Hopefully a response, but in many cases, if you're coming from a place of lack and emptiness, your partner is going to react to that. Their ego is going to feel that as a threat in some way. Their ego is going to feel that as a a need that they need to fill for you, which of course they cannot do. So think about how not loving yourself first influences how your partner may react to you. So now let's flip it and let's go down a list of ways that self-love can positively impact your relationship. One of the really cool things about loving yourself first is that you get to model to your partner how you want to be treated, how you want to be loved. You're able to set boundaries. You're able to say yes when you mean yes. You're able to say no when you mean no. And this enables your partner to understand, oh, this works for her and this doesn't. And then obviously it's up to your partner how they want to respond to all of that. But if you are not valuing yourself enough to model this behavior, you're going to be treated at the whim of perhaps an unconscious partner whose ego is or reactive teen is driving the car. Another positive effect on your relationship when you start with loving yourself first is that you can never be broken by the actions of another person. You can never be really devastated. Now, that's not to say that you can't be disappointed, that you can't be hurt, that you can't be sad, that you can't be confused or conflicted about the actions of another person. But because you know your value, you know that you did not cause the behavior of another person, you can feel disappointment, you can feel the hurt without taking it on as something devastating. It doesn't have to rock your world. And then, coming from a place of self-love gives you the ability to step into curiosity with your partner. So you don't have to protect your hurt by attacking or blaming or judging or criticizing. Instead, you can be gentle enough with yourself because you know that it's okay to feel hurt, that you will be okay, to be able to then show up in this conflict from a place of curiosity. When you love yourself, you can be curious, which puts you in a very different place to address conflict. If I'm curious, I'm not judging. When I'm curious, I'm kind. When I'm curious, I'm compassionate. When I'm curious, I'm understanding. And think about how that can change the dynamic of conflict in your relationship. If I start with, ooh, what you just did really upset me in whatever way. Now, my ego can jump on that, catch the hot coal, ow, and I'm going to throw it back at you because I want to hurt you. That's one way to go. That's an ego way to go. That's a reactive teen. That's not my adult and it's not my essence. And essence is love. If I'm lined up in my essence, I'm loving myself. So instead, ooh, that really upset me. You know what? I'm okay. I'm okay. It upset me. I'm good. I value myself. Nothing that you can do can take away my value and my worth. But I don't like how this feels. And it feels like a disconnect. So I shift into curiosity. You know what? What you just said really hurt me. It really bothered me. It really disappointed me, whatever it is. And I'm curious because I know that you love me and I know that you care about me and I know that your intention wouldn't be, if you're coming from your essence, if you're coming from love, it wouldn't be to hurt me. So I'm curious what's going on for you. Think about the impact of that kind of energy coming from a place of self-worth and self-value. Think of the impact of that on your partner, on the impact of that on the energy of this dynamic that could easily have gone in a different direction. Self-love is at the center of that, of shifting that energy back into love. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you're getting the idea here. being able to speak your truth, coming from a place of really honoring your opinions and your thoughts and your feelings and your perspectives, and sharing that in a way that isn't afraid of conflict. Knowing that if I'm okay and I'm solid, whatever the conflict is, I can get through this. I have confidence in myself, right? You can imagine all the ways that being in love, in a loving place, loving myself, starting from that place, grounds me, centers me, lines me up, connects me to my own heart, and then I can bring my open heart to you, to my partner, who more than likely is struggling and doing the best that you can do. When I can forgive myself for being human and being imperfect and stumbling and fumbling, it makes it much easier for me to see you that way too. So, this week, I want you to really step into and practice loving yourself, noticing. I'm going to go backwards from this. Notice when you find yourself in conflict with your partner, which part of you is about to either react or respond. If you start to feel and you know, your fists are coming up and the hairs are coming up on the back of your neck, and you can feel the tension in your body, you know you are no longer loving yourself. Your ego's going to want to convince yourself, of course I'm loving myself. I have to protect myself. That's an illusion. When you're in self-love, you don't need to protect yourself from someone's mistakes. Obviously, I'm not talking about protecting yourself when someone's trying to hit you, or loving yourself in that moment would be to create a boundary, right? Talking about boundaries. Yes means yes, no means no. So, watch this week. Notice when you are in a space of valuing yourself and how different your response to your partner will be versus when you're unsure of yourself. And you may notice it first by how you're reacting, and that may be an indicator that you need to shift back into self-love. All right, this week, make sure you join us next Friday for our Love Fridays Live, our Facebook Live event at 2 o'clock every Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern. And if you're interested in an online couples course, I'm in the process of developing that. I've been talking about it for a long time, and I know a lot of people are interested. If you are interested, please send us an email, okay? info@consciouschoices.net, and let me know. Some of you have already let me know. If you haven't already, please do let me know. All right, make sure to like this video, share it, and subscribe. I'm sending you so much love and light. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.